Hey, I'm Erica.
And I'm Jules. Most people have at least one thing that they can't or won't eat.
Yeah, we're definitely like that.
We started this podcast to talk about the gluten-free food industry,
like new products and some of the stories behind your favorite brands,
and living life with a specialty diet, and also some important healthcare topics.
Since we're basically both broken inside.
You had me at eat. Hi, how are you today?
Hi, I'm doing good. Welcome to another episode of You Had Me at Eat. We have been doing a series of amazing interviews with people that we find super fascinating. And this next interview, I think you'll all love because we genuinely loved her. Today's episode, we have Heather, who started, first of all, Oregon Chai, but she now has a new company, Taiwala.
I really should blame her for my chai obsession because
you really should. I think
I have a problem with chai.
Just write her a letter and be like, you started it all.
You started my chai problem.
Now you're going to have a Thai tea problem because the stuff is so good.
Yeah.
She makes Taiwala tea along with her mother, I believe, is she works with, and this amazing farmer that she gets in Thailand, all of the products, including obviously the tea and the pandan leaves that she uses to make it extra delicious. And the stuff is so good. And why I think Jules and I love it is because you can add your own non-dairy creamer or half and half or whole milk, because it's not actually milk, but like non-dairy whole milk. Anything that's super rich and creamy to make this a traditional Thai iced tea, or you can just use non-dairy milk and just have it be a delicious tea drink. And it is sweetened and unsweetened.
I finished it already, but I made it with just regular milk, like non-dairy milk. Wasn't whole milk. It was delicious.
So good. So good. Really good. And not only does she have a great product that we see, on the show floor as we look for new products, but she has a great product and a great story, and she's just a great storyteller and just a great a female co-founder. So we would love for you to listen to this amazing interview that we had with Heather Howitt of Taiwala, and we want you to become the next Taiwala super fan. So enjoy.
Yeah, grab a cup of tea and kick back and enjoy the next interview of You Had Me at Eat.
All right, so let's get started. This is another episode of You Had Me at Eat where we have the best guests ever because they just let us talk about whatever we want. So again, today joining us is another phenomenal person in the CPG industry. We have Heather. She is the founder, CEO, head tea lady in charge of Taiwala Tea. You may know her from Oregon Chai, where she started again with her mom. She told us the story before. And she loves frothing. She's a big frother. I don't know, things that we know about Heather so far. Big frother.
Can't wait to hear more about the froth.
And the frothing together where the magic happens.
It is. And if you can't see it, she's making just this like
frothy
embracing a frothy baby hand motion. And it really is how you should be enjoying tea. So
yeah, absolutely.
Welcome, Heather. It is a pleasure to meet you finally and to have you on this podcast, where we only have the most illustrious guests, obviously. Number one, you're here. Welcome.
Thank you.
She's all hopped up on matcha, just so you know. Just everyone, she's on it right now. She's riding the train.
We're gonna work to catch up here on the podcast because I only just got started on my Taiwala. So, but yeah, Heather, before we actually started recording today, you started telling us all kinds of fascinating stuff. But share with the guests a little bit about this. You and your mom started Oregon Chai together, and I think that got started in your kitchen, which I love that story because I founded my own company in my kitchen. And so tell me more.
Okay, so try to make this short. Okay,
or don't do whatever you want. We're here for it.
At it. Okay, a million years ago, when I was in college on the 6+ year plan, I was traveling in Asia, and I went to China and then Thailand and, Southeast Asia and then India. In Thailand, I got really into my, beverages, especially in the morning, especially like caffeinated, and started drinking Thai iced tea and Thai iced coffee, but Thai iced tea. And then I went to India and forgot about that. It's all about the chai.
Yeah.
And I kept saying, asking different like chai wallas on the street, how do you make this? They're like, it's our ancient family recipe. And so anyway, I left kind of not really knowing, but I went to school in Santa Cruz. And at the time, I realized when I got back, I went to this cafe, Pergolesi, and I looked up on the board and it said chai. But I know chai just means tea in a zillion different languages. And I said, chai, what's chai? And they're like, it's, tea. It's tea.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, well, then give me a chocolate chip latte or, whatever, something frothy and sweet and whatever. And anyway, I realized it was what I was having in India, that sweet, spicy milk tea.
Yeah.
And when I came home, when I moved back to Portland, there was no place to get it. It didn't exist anywhere. Yogi tea had a SKU, chai tea SKU, but it didn't have any caffeine in it, and it wasn't exactly what I would make. So in the old days, what I did, you could go online and do some research, but I went to Powell's Books, our famous bookstore in Portland.
I love Powell's. You just get lost in Powell's. I love it.
I know. Yes. And I got lost in the recipe section and found chai, and then saw, was looking at a zillion different chai recipes, and I was like, oh, okay. So you brew the spices for like 45 minutes, just throw the tea in for a few minutes or it gets bitter, and pull it out. And while it's hot, I would add honey. And I just started doing my own thing, adding like vanilla bean and fresh ginger and orange peel. And cinnamon, cardamom, clove, allspice, a little black pepper. And then we would use honey to sweeten at the time, or I would. And I got my mom hooked on it, and my mom started making it all the time, which I loved because I was sick of making it.
It's always good to get the fam involved.
Put it in the fridge, and, everybody would drink it, which is great. But then the next day I'm like, oh my God, I have to go
make it again.
Buy all these bulk spices again, and I really just wanted to go buy the cup, like at Starbucks or whatever. Sorry, Anyway, my mom got hooked on it, so I'd go to her house and get it in the morning, and she'd leave the milk out so she could add her non-dairy, I could add my half and half, my dad could add his, everybody could do their own thing. Yeah. And I would just say, we should just start a business doing this. But I was just angry. I had no starting a business, but I wanted someone to so that I could just go buy it.
Exactly.
And my mom called me one day and she said, I applied for a business license. And I'm like, that's great, but I have no idea what that means. And business people are terrible people, right? And what happened was she started making it and I started going out and selling it.
And what does that mean, Heather? Like, what do you mean you went out and sold it? Where did you go out and sell it on the street? Were you a chai walla on the street? Like, what were you doing?
Oh my God. Okay. The first
you at the Portland Farmers Market? I love that farmers market.
I was hungover and going to like my local grocery store, and there was this little coffee cart out front, and this guy, Scott, Coffee El Volo. Hello, Scott. I wonder where he is now. But anyway, I was like, hey, just getting my latte. And I was like, I've got this stuff. You want to try it? And he's like, yeah, I'll try. Bring me a pint tomorrow. And I'm like, oh my God, customer. And made up, drew a label, made copies on sticky paper. And so I'm bringing him a pint, and then he's out. And the next day he needs another pint. And then he's like, bring me a quart. I'm like, oh my God, we have to buy quart bottles and put it in quarts. And then it got to bring me a half gallon, bring me 4 gallons. And, but I found somebody, to do over the weekend, make up a quick label for me so that by literally Monday I could start delivering it to the markets. And that was the beginning of the retail, grocery as opposed to food service cafes. But mind you, I had 8 cafes when they picked it up. Mm-hmm. And tried to surround myself with people who, knew this industry, and started going to like natural products expos and fancy food shows, and went into this packaging, and that was a watershed moment because it allowed us to have national distribution. It's got a 2-year shelf life, and until you open it, then you have to refrigerate it. But that allowed us to do all kinds of things. And I did that for 10 years, and then sold it to a group called Kerry Foods. They do mostly like food service behind the scenes, butter, Irish company.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's another story too. Because, I mean, there was definitely a day when I'm like, I'm never going to sell this. My kids are going to work here. My friends are going to work here. We had a climbing wall and a free juice cooler. What could possibly go wrong? I mean, it was great. But, and then after that, I was part of the co-founding team, but not the actual founder, of a company called Living Harvest out of Canada. And we launched hemp milk in the same package.
Yeah.
Did that for like 7-8 years, sold it at a loss, got into the category too early. But we were doing hemp milk back in the day, which is awesome, but complicated.
Hemp milk is amazing. And hemp ice cream, like that entire trajectory for hemp. Yeah. The companies that got into it too early, it's really sad because there's so many of them that just lost their shirts. But for us in the, I know, right. For all of us who need that kind of product because, you have dietary restrictions and all that, hemp is the perfect product. Yeah. And we were just clamoring for that type of product, and we still, we're never going to not need it. And hemp is the perfect answer because of all of the nutritional check boxes that it can satisfy.
I remember all of the brands that were trying to launch hemp, and it just, I probably saw you at a trade show and didn't even think twice. So you went from tea to hemp, right?
Okay, so
I can see the packaging, but how does that go back to tea then?
Well, yeah, so sold that at a loss, but I love Thai iced tea, and just I get kind of, like obsessive compulsive sort of something, I don't know.
That's what makes you successful.
I can't find it.
Flip it around. It's a positive.
I would come home. Okay, I wanted to make it during the Oregon Chai days. And then there was this time where we raised $4 million from this VC group, which allowed us to expand people and products. And we hired someone from Nestle, good dude. And he said, we're going to launch an iced tea program, because chai is, at least then, largely seen as seasonal, more of a winter, like the entire tea category, really. But he said, we're going to launch an iced tea program. And I said, awesome, let's do a Thai iced tea. Perfect. And he's like, no, we're going to do a lemon iced tea and a peach iced tea and a raspberry iced tea. I'm like,
now would you mind?
Like, really took the wind out of my sails. And I felt like, oh no, like, is this the beginning of the end? But anyway, so I would go home and buy a 1-pound bag at the Asian grocery store and make it at home. And then I'd have my cousin / nanny, it's like in her job description, she'd make it too and have it in the fridge. And she could add her non-dairy and I could add my half and half. And I love non-dairy too. It's just when it comes to my coffee and tea, I get a little nervous. But yeah, I'd pay the piper as well. But anyway, so she would make the Thai iced tea and I'd come home and just drink it out. And, but I drink it all the time. Like I drank chai all the time. The difference here was, I would make it and looking at the dry tea and smelling it and like the ingredients didn't match up with what I was looking at, smelling, tasting. They mentioned, the number one, the biggest brand here, green tea. And then they mentioned the red dye, and it's the kind of red dye that has neurotoxins. Like
Doesn't all red dye?
Yeah. But then also, you can just smell like chocolate and vanilla in it, for example, and see other things. And a little too close to it, but I was kind of insulted by the ingredients. I'm like, come on, you guys. And it just made me think, over like 5 years, 10 years, making it and giving it to my kids at the time too. Like, I just want to know what this is. And like with, in India, so chai, they've been making that for thousands of years. Ayurvedic doctors used to put together these spice mixtures, make tea for the kings to keep them healthy. Thai iced tea is more of I love this stuff, okay? And I'm making a high quality version of it, but it's sort of the leftover tea that gets shipped off to flavor companies and it's sprayed with fillers and flavors and colors, artificial, cheap. And it doesn't have this rich history. It's really just been around as long as artificial flavors and colors and fillers. But I wanted so I was on this quest and I started, again, I'm not even like looking to start a business. I'm just really frustrated that I can't, just go buy it.
Yeah.
And this is like 30 years ago. It's the exact same story as chai. You have to go to a Thai restaurant and that's it.
Yeah.
But now you can go get it at a boba tea place. It's one of the top selling always boba tea drinks. But I couldn't find it. And then I started talking to, different tea importers. Like there's this guy, Steve Smith, who, with this other guy, Steve Lee, they had started Stash Tea and then Tazo Tea.
Right.
And Stephen Smith Tea Maker, he died of cancer like 6 years ago. But anyway, he was one of my bros and I went and saw him. I'm like, Steve, help me find this tea. And I remember he and his R&D guy were drinking it and laughing. They're like, it tastes like chocolate milk. What is this stuff? They're total snobs or where, this is like really our core consumers, like a teenager, a kid drinking boba tea, anyway, never mind them. But he helped me, a little bit, but actually everywhere I turned, I couldn't find the stuff. And I ended up going to Thailand and I met with the owner of the largest Thai tea supplier. He's a tea grower. And again, this is not like the tea that he sells, but he sells it off to the flavor companies that do their spray thing. And, it's not his problem. Yeah. He really had no interest in the U.S. business. He said he sent a pallet here once and it got rejected and just, too many regulations, blah, blah, blah. And he doesn't need it. Too much of a headache. But he sells everything he produces to Taiwan and they sell it all to the States boba tea. And anyway, I visited a bunch of his farms. I went to a bunch of farms. The last one I went to, of course, is how it always works.
Yeah.
But I'm on this woman's property. She has like 500 acres, organic, way northern Thailand in Chiang Rai, near the Myanmar border. And it was her father's tea farm, and he died like 20 years ago. And she's just super smart and super into it and super cool. But I go to her place and we're just checking out her, the farm. She has an herb farm too, but there were bees and butterflies and dragonflies all over the place. Like a Disneyland movie, truly. Not in a scary way. They weren't like interested in us at all. Sure. And we get into her car and we're touring the property in this old Jeep. And she's like, oh, don't look at that building. It used to be my office. But I went to paint it and I saw the bees were moving in and, they're in the walls. They've taken over things. So I just moved out and gave it to them. And it's covered with all these giant like bee mounds, bee hives, but they just looks like this moon thing. But anyway, that's when I was like, I love you.
Yeah. I gave the building to the bees. I want to be your best friend.
So I get that. And then I bring it here in containers and we brew it here. And that's where we add the coloring, which is beta carotene from carrots and cocoa, vanilla, and a little organic caramel. It's a teeny bit. It's burnt organic cane. So it's vegan too. And that makes it taste like you've added sweetened condensed milk when you've just added
It absolutely does. I was actually just talking to my husband about it because I was like, you know where the orange comes from? It's carrots. He goes, I thought it was turmeric, and like so we were getting into it, and it's amazing that the cane does taste like it has sweetened condensed milk in it, because I kept looking at the ingredients, but it tastes like there's milk in it, and there's no milk in it. But it doesn't, because like I'm drinking it right now. I know there's no milk in it because I added my own non-dairy. But yeah, it's amazing.
Basically, just from using, the ultra high temperatures and processing the condensed milk, it caramelizes the flavor.
Wow.
I mean, if you boil it for long enough, you open it up and you get caramel. My friend's mom did that as a kid. Eat it with a spoon.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But
no, it's super yummy.
So you continue to have a relationship with this woman because she is the person who is growing your tea and pandan for you as well?
She's she's a partner. She's amazing.
That's so cool.
I met her 6 years ago, and I love her. And she's really smart and funny, and I'm insane and crazy, and she calls me out and mocks me, and I actually really like that. But she's just good, and she cares. It's just so obvious, and it's her family business too, and it was obvious in the insects that were there. Made me realize I've been visiting other organic farms and I didn't see anything.
Yeah. Such a healthy ecosystem when you have all of that happening. You're like, something must be right in the soil or in the trees and the plants for you to have this incredible ecosystem of pollinators and bugs doing what they should be doing in their life.
And they're all obviously so happy.
Yeah. Sure, she loves bees, but she's a smart farmer. And it really speaks to me because back in the early Oregon chai days, like I said, we used just honey to sweeten it. And then there was a global honey shortage. And no one knew what was going on. They thought, a mite was in the hives and killing off the bees. It's herbicides and pesticides. But anyway, so we were getting, like, for example, we got some tea that they had blended with something because they had nothing else. And it reacted with the tannins in the tea and turned it black. And at the time, I think that was like a 20,000 gallon run for us. It's like huge. And by the way, we used like my mom's house as collateral to get an SBA loan to do stuff like this. And then you're dumping 20,000 gallons.
Yeah.
It
truly,
hurts.
like, new business is not glorious.
No.
Anyway, so we had to, I remember I was in San Francisco, we had to make a board level decision to swap it out with organic cane. And I was like, nobody's ever going to drink this again. It's going to suck. We're going down in flames. It's over. We might as well just quit right now because it's over. And so we switched to cane, and I was just waiting for like our business to fail. And we got one phone call.
Yeah.
Only. So like one complaint. So it wasn't the end of the world.
Probably there were people who were happy because they're like, oh, finally it's vegan,
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was that.
So being in a female friendly position at the CPG level with you making a product with other females, what is it like being a female founder, a co-founder, an owner, a farmer in the CPG space? What's happening? Are you seeing shifts happen in the CPG world as we have seen, being slightly more female and BIPOC friendly for founders? Are you seeing that? Is it more comfortable in the space right now? Are you still facing a lot of issues?
Well, okay. One thing that comes to mind is back in the day when, I was president and CEO of Oregon Chai. It was 1999, and I had kid number one. I had two kids. And I didn't know, like, what I was going to do. Like, what do you do when you have a kid? You get, like, a nanny? Do you go to daycare? Whatever. And I didn't have a plan, but then, like, suddenly I did have a baby. And, I'd bring him into work. I brought him into work all day, every day. And then as he got older, I'd leave him home 1 day a week and then 2 days a week. And then, as he started to crawl around and try to kill himself.
As babies do.
Him at home more and more, but it was nice to be able to like not have to ask for approval from anyone and figure it out on my own. That was a huge gift. You actually just reminded me. I would take my kid Sawyer and a baby Bjorn into the boardroom, and then we'd go from the boardroom to board lunch, and I just button a sweater, and he'd be no hands nursing.
That's
and no
awesome.
one even knew, but you get so comfortable with it. While
Yes.
you're doing it.
Yes.
Doesn't everybody do this? So, I mean, yes, I'm sure that was a little challenging and weird for everybody. And it is tough to balance because it's tough to get come on, let's be realistic. 50% of the child rearing it's not, what am I trying to say? It's not even like that necessarily.
Yeah. There's not even distribution.
Especially when you've got to nurse something, you know?
Yep.
You've got but yeah, grateful that I had my own business and nobody was telling me I couldn't do that and I got to figure it out on my own.
I love everything that we've talked about so far. You've literally answered all of our questions that we had pre-prepared that you've already had in your story. It's like you've done this a million times with different businesses. Shocking, right? Now is the time that we give to you to literally plug anything that you want. So obviously tell us about the product, where you want people to buy it, where they can buy it, any suggested ways to make it that you love so much. Obviously you can plug your frother. My God, I wish we gave you an affiliate code because now Jules and I are going to buy whatever frother you tell us to buy. Now is the time for you to just tell us literally whatever you want to share and what you want our listeners and watchers to know about your product and just you in general.
And I'm just going to sit back with my Taiwala and enjoy.
So
with your
it's
one
really
hand,
for
with
the
your one
first
hand.
time, with the exception of a couple little, quirky brands that have slid under the radar, maybe, relative to ingredient disclosure, let's say, there's really no competition. So we're really the first Thai iced tea that you can buy at the grocery store. The only thing is it's not ready to drink. You have to buy your half and half or your, Ripple makes a pea half and half right now that is really good with it. I like
But I just add milk, just regular non-dairy milk. I don't really find that I need to add a high fat milk to it to really enjoy it. And I'm loving it just with almond milk or soy milk or anything. It's delicious. So.
Well, yeah, I think, if you're used to your non-dairy, you're going to like it anyway. But sometimes I think people walk into the store and they expect it.
Mm-hmm.
It says on the front of the package, just add milk. So, maybe you add your almond milk and it just doesn't taste like what you had in the Thai restaurant when they added evaporated milk and sweetened condensed milk.
That's so good. I miss dairy so much. I'm like, oh my God, my mouth is watering. I miss dairy because I used to eat at Thai restaurants all the time.
I know.
And have a Thai iced tea. That's where I used to. And when I worked in corporate America, we'd always go to the Thai restaurant around the corner and have a Thai iced tea. And it was the best because it was just half and half and so much evaporated, sweetened, condensed anything. And I'm just like, oh my God, so much dairy. And now that I can't do dairy, I'm like, oh, but now, like we talked about earlier, they're making so many alternatives that are fattier, that have that mouthfeel, that work so well with the pandan because
I know, but what I'm saying
so
is
well with the
it's
its
a testament to the fact that the
caramelization
and it does taste like there's something about this that has a little bit of that sweetened condensed flavor to it that I don't miss not having the half and half or whatever. I've tried it multiple ways. And so I put creamer in and I really think that it's just as delicious maybe my palate is not as refined in the Thai tea world, but I'm telling you, I think that it's a very versatile condensed tea because I think you can enjoy it in many different ways. So I'll back off now.
Ice blended makes good ice cream if you.
Let's make a frappe.
That would be good. That would be really nice.
But yeah, so you can find us in the tea set, next to the Oregon Chai or Tazo concentrates at Safeway, Albertsons, nationally. We're in a growing number of Kroger banners like
nice.
Fred Meyer and QFC. We, and just give us time. We're getting there. We're in Whole Foods in many different regions from mid-Atlantic to Southwest, Northeast. We're in a growing number of Costco's, like business centers, LA, Texas.
Is that part of the challenge? I mean, not having the competition, is it part of the challenge to educate the consumers on, hey, you might not have heard about this, but you want to know what this is?
For sure. Well, for one thing, I think a lot of people confuse it with chai. Thai and chai, they sound similar. But that said, I feel like trying to sell Oregon chai in the early days, people had no idea what it was unless they had spent time in ashrams,
Yeah, very.
And so people really looked at me like I was crazy. But now if I say Thai iced tea, most people have like at least heard of it.
Yeah.
And you do see it, kind of in our like subculture bubbling up in TV shows like Go Call Saul and, get some Thai food, get some of that Thai iced tea. I love that, just little comments. So it's a little bit easier in a way than selling Oregon chai, but for say COVID and everyone shut down and quit looking at new products altogether.
And then plug your website too.
Oh yeah. Okay. Thank you. And then we have a store locator on our website. If you go to taiwala.com, you can plug in, your zip code and see exactly where it is. We're in about 5,000 different retailers across the country.
Go you. That's awesome. Yeah. How long has it been out, Heather?
How long? So, let's see. We launched at Natural Products Expo in 2018. And then actually that was under a different name that we couldn't trademark. So we had to relaunch the next year, but hey, COVID.
Yeah. And then wah. Then there's no expo.
No. Yeah. But, we focused on retail for sure because that's what was happening.
Right. Well, you're the Thai guru, right? Thai tea guru.
Yeah. Thank you. But no, it's not easy, especially starting like in this kind of package, where a minimum run is like 80,000 gallons or 80,000 cases. So it's more than 80,000 gallons. It's a lot. So, you need the big anchors, the big national chains, just so that you can produce it at a decent price.
Yeah.
And it's still like, we brew the tea. It's a slow brew process. You have to do it for a long time. And
Oh, I understand.
So you just kind of suck it up and lose money.
Yep.
Until, this is where you're just rolling the dice because they say as starting a business, you have like 7% success rate. Maybe if you've done it again, it's as high as 30%. But you have to have the confidence to take the risk.
Yeah.
To know that you'll get to those levels eventually. And then, improve your COGS, increase your margins, and make money.
Yeah.
But then, the retail grocery side, too, you have as much as like 40% of your sales coming back in the form of chargebacks.
Absolutely. And COGS these days with inflation is insane. So, all of our margins are just like, and if you're in anything right now, it's just crazy. So
COGS inflation, this is where I feel extremely lucky, too. Yes, at first, bringing a container of tea from Thailand, for us, it went to like just over 20,000. I know they got up to 30,000 at one point, but I don't think we paid 30,000, but over 20, whereas it should be like 3 or 4. Those prices have come back down. Gasoline for freight, freighting it around the country, those prices came down. And then because we are finally at that level where we're, producing these large runs, we're getting much better ingredient costs. Yeah. So our costs they are increasing their costs, but for us, we're increasing our
startup costs are just crazy. You have to have
so we are in good shape there. Still not out of the woods, never out of the woods. As soon as
you never are,
you're going down.
You live in the woods. If you're a manufacturer, you're just like, I'm going to build a house here in the woods, and maybe I'm on the edge of the woods, but I'm still going to be in there all the time.
And then you're going to let the bees take your house.
And then you're going to own a house.
Yeah.
So you can build another house for the dragonflies.
I'm definitely
I
there.
love that story. So Heather, where's the next trade show that you're going to be at that people
West.
and retailers can? So Expo West for everyone.
Yeah,
Okay.
in Anaheim, I
We'll see you
wish I
there.
was at Fancy Food. I would love to be at Fancy Food, but COVID has been kind of tough, and we've had to just tighten
You
up.
cut back.
a bit.
I get you.
We'll get there, but trust me, I was bummed to not be there. But Expo
That's
will
cool.
be great, and that's a great show for us always too.
Good.
Yeah,
Okay, well, we'll see you there, and we'll
Yeah.
have to snap a photo. It'll be great.
come on over and have some
Come
Thai
on
iced
down.
tea. We've got non-dairy, got it all. Yeah.
Heather, you're fantastic. We could literally talk to you all day. You're phenomenal. I want to support literally everything that you do. I want to live in this woman's bee house office. I love your stories. This is great. But unfortunately, we do have to wrap up. But we want everyone to check out Taiwala tea, buy it at the retailers. If you don't have it at a retailer, buy it online, tell all of your friends, share it, and support the woman with the bee house, because that's every time I drink, I'm going to be like, I'm supporting her in her bee office.
That's right.
So that just makes me
Your bee office.
I really like her. I'm gonna have to send her this. But thank you
awesome.
so much.
And thanks for doing it right, Heather.
Taiwala Thai iced tea and concentrate, 32 ounce, Tetra Brick packaging, and you have to mix it with a, non-dairy something white and preferably creamy.
Yeah.
That's right. White and creamy. We will look for that. Thank you for the tip.
Awesome.
And thank you for your
Okay,
time,
well, Heather-
Heather. It's been a pleasure. Thanks so much, Heather. It was great to have you on our podcast today. We really enjoyed hearing your founder story and, of course, all about your new product. And if you have a great food story and you'd like to join us on the podcast, reach out to us. And for all the listeners out there today, please be sure to like and subscribe. And we hope you all have a great day. Thanks for listening to You Had Me at Eat.
Yeah, the more you like and subscribe, the better vibes are sent to Jules's poor collarbone. So please do it for Jules. Like and subscribe. We'll see you on the next episode of You Had Me at Eat.